She had the same face as her enemy. Her twin sister stole her life. Her mother chose her sister. The one man she loved was taken from her. The fire that burned her skin exposed a betrayal no one could hide. When the truth finally came out, everything burned. From the outside, Taiwo and Kehinde looked exactly the same. Same face, same voice, same height, same everything. People in the village could barely tell them apart. But inside their home, they were completely different. Taiwo was the quiet one. Not stupid, she was actually very smart. Not slow either, she just didn't talk much. She preferred to listen and watch. She thought before she spoke. She moved carefully through life. And somehow, that became her biggest problem. Her mother hated quiet people. She thought Taiwo's silence meant she was being disrespectful. She'd say things like, "This girl is too dull, too withdrawn," just like her useless father. Kehinde was the opposite. Loud, always talking, always demanding things, always getting attention. And their mother loved Kehinde for it. She loved her in a way she never loved Taiwo. The favoritism started small when they were kids. If their mother told Kehinde to go fetch water and Kehinde said no, nothing would happen. Their mother would just sigh and let it go. Then she'd turn around and tell Taiwo to do it instead. One day, Taiwo was about 7 years old. She made a mistake. She asked a question. "Mama, didn't you just tell Kehinde to fetch the water?" Her mother's face changed. Her eyes went cold. "Are you questioning me? Are you talking back to your mother?" Taiwo never asked again. She learned to just stand up and do whatever she was told. Sometimes Kehinde would sit there watching her work, smiling. Sometimes Kehinde would follow her and complain that she was too slow or trying to show off. Sometimes she would pretend not to be feeling well. Taiwo told herself it didn't matter. After all, she's my sister. Their father was a quiet man too. He was a teacher at a school in the next village. He worked long hours, but he always noticed things at home. When he was around, everything felt safer. He'd correct their mother when she was being unfair. "They're both your daughters," he'd say calmly. "Why are you treating them differently?" He'd tell Kehinde to stop being lazy and do her share of work. He'd remind everyone that twins should support each other, not fight. As long as their father was alive, Taiwo had someone who cared about her, someone who protected her. Then he died. It happened fast. He had a stroke while teaching his class. By the time they got him to the hospital, it was too late. Taiwo was 15 years old. At the funeral, Kehinde cried loudly. People hugged her and comforted her. Taiwo stood quietly, too shocked to cry in public. People whispered that she was cold, that she didn't even care that her father was dead. They didn't see her crying alone in her room every night for months. They don't understand. People grieve differently. After the funeral, their mother stopped pretending to be fair at all. Kehinde stopped hiding how much she enjoyed making Taiwo suffer. And Taiwo learned what it felt like to be completely alone even when surrounded by family. Things got really bad in secondary school. One day, money went missing from a teacher's desk, 3,000 naira. A student said she saw one of the twins near the staff room, but she couldn't tell which one. The school called both girls to the principal's office. Kehinde started crying immediately, big tears. Her whole body was shaking. "I would never steal," as she sobbed. "My father just died. He taught us to be honest." Then she looked down and whispered, "It was Taiwo. I saw her there." Taiwo's mouth fell open. "What? That's a lie. I was in the library." But the librarian had stepped out. There was no one to back up Taiwo's story. The school called their mother. Mama Ibeji came wearing her best clothes. She listened to the story. She looked at both her daughters. She didn't ask any questions. She didn't try to find out the truth. She just told the principal, yes, it was Taiwo. She's been having problems since her father died. Just like that, Taiwo was suspended. Everyone at school called her a thief. Students moved their bags when she walked by. At home, Kehinde put on another show. She cried and told her mother she felt bad about reporting her sister. Her mother hugged Kehinde and said, "Don't worry, you did the right thing. That's what good sisters do." Then she looked at Taiwo. "You should be grateful you have a sister who tries to keep you on the right path." Taiwo sat there, 15 years old, trying to understand how this was her life. But she still believed family meant something. She still thought things would get better. She was wrong. Kehinde developed a habit of stealing from the market, small things, a lipstick here, a hair clip there. She'd take something and disappear into the crowd before anyone caught her. But the traders would see her face, which was also Taiwo's face, and she held it responsible. One Tuesday, Taiwo was outside washing clothes. She was sitting by the bucket, scrubbing fabric, minding her business. She didn't hear the market women coming. The first hit came from the side, knocking her over. The bucket spilled everywhere. "Thief, you think you can steal from my store?" 3 women stood over her. One had a big wooden spoon raised like a weapon. "I didn't steal anything," Taiwo tried to explain. "I've been here all morning." They didn't listen. They beat her right there in the compound. Slaps, kicks. The wooden spoon came down on her back, her arms, and her shoulders. She curled up trying to protect herself. "Please, it wasn't me. I didn't go to the market." When their mother finally came outside, she didn't defend Taiwo. She just apologized to the women and paid them for whatever Kehinde had stolen. After the women left, their mother looked at Taiwo on the ground and shook her head. "Why do you always bring shame to this family?" "But mommy, you know it was..." Taiwo stopped mid-sentence as her mother snapped back. "It was who? You better keep quiet before I give you another slap." Taiwo stopped trying to explain after that. What was the point? Nobody believed her anyway. This happened often. Each time Kehinde stole something, each time the traders found Taiwo, each time she got beaten for crimes she didn't commit. Her friend Chichi saw it happen once. She tried to stop them. "This is Taiwo. She's been with me all afternoon, braiding my hair. You're beating the wrong person." The trader apologized, but before she left, she said, "I'll find Kehinde. She can't hide forever." After the woman left, Chichi held Taiwo while she cried. "How long are you going to live like this, always paying for what she does?" Taiwo didn't have an answer because their mother, who was supposed to caution Kehinde, was the one aiding her. When they got to their final year of secondary school, money was tight. The exam fees were expensive. Their mother said she could only pay for one of them. She chose Kehinde. Taiwo didn't argue. She just accepted it quietly, the way she accepted everything. On the day of the exam, Taiwo stood outside the exam hall. She wasn't sure why she went. Maybe a habit, maybe hope, maybe just to see what she was missing. A teacher noticed her standing there. "Why aren't you inside writing the exam?" Taiwo explained that her mother couldn't afford to pay for both of them. The teacher asked more questions. She looked angry. Then she reached into her purse and paid Taiwo's fees herself right there. "Go inside and write your exam now," she said. Taiwo did, and she passed. Not just passed, she came top of her class. When the results came out, her mother wasn't proud. She was angry. "Don't embarrass me by telling everyone I couldn't pay for you next time. Did you hear me? You must keep quiet." Kehinde watched all of this happen, and Taiwo realized something important that day. Kehinde didn't just hate her. Kehinde was afraid of her, because no matter what they did to her, no matter how much they tried to break her, Taiwo kept surviving, kept succeeding, kept being visible even when they tried to make her disappear. That fear made Kehinde even more dangerous. The fire started in the kitchen one evening. Kehinde had been cooking and left the stove on when she walked away to talk on the phone. Taiwo was in the bedroom studying when she smelled smoke. By the time she ran to the kitchen, flames were spreading fast. "Fire! Fire!" she screamed. Their mother appeared and grabbed Kehinde first. She pulled her toward the door. "Run! Get out!" Kehinde ran. Taiwo followed behind, making sure Kehinde got out safely first, like she always did, like she'd been trained to do her whole life. Put Kehinde first. But the fire moved faster than expected. A burning curtain fell. Flames caught Taiwo's arm, her shoulder, part of her back. She screamed and stumbled outside, rolling in the dirt to put out the flames. She survived, but her body carried the scars. Burn marks that twisted the skin on her right arm and shoulder, marks that would never fully fade. Instead of comfort, she got cruelty. Her mother looked at the scars with disgust. "Since you are always so slow and stupid, see what happens to you now. I pray you even find a man who will marry you. You look horrible." The words cut deeper than the burns. But Taiwo already had someone. His name was Chidi. They'd met during a December festival the year before. Chidi was handsome, successful, and kind. And for some reason, he had noticed Taiwo. Not Kehinde, Taiwo. They talked that whole evening. He asked for her number. They started talking on the phone after he went back to Canada. Long conversations, real conversations, about dreams and fears and futures. For the first time in her life, someone saw Taiwo, really saw her, not as the quiet twin, not as the problem child, just as herself. She didn't tell anyone about Chidi first. She kept him secret, something precious that was just hers. But Kehinde found out. She always did. She went through Taiwo's phone one day when Taiwo was batting. She saw the messages, the photos, everything. She told her mother immediately. Her mother looked at Taiwo's scarred arm and said, "With those burns, no man from Canada will want you. You are fooling yourself." Then she looked at Kehinde. "You should talk to him, pretend to be Taiwo, win him over. I can't lose a Nigerian-Canadian son-in-law because of this useless girl. This is our opportunity to climb the ladder of success." Kehinde smiled. "Yes, Mama." It started slowly. Kehinde would take Taiwo's phone when she could. She would respond to Chidi's messages. She would call him when Taiwo was asleep or out of the house. They sounded exactly the same on the phone. Chidi couldn't tell the difference. Kehinde was smart about it. She would read through old messages to know what they talked about. She would use the same phrases Taiwo used. She would laugh the same way. Taiwo noticed her phone going missing. She noticed conversations with Chidi that she didn't remember having, but she couldn't prove anything. When she confronted Kehinde, Kehinde just laughed. "Why would I want your man? You're paranoid." Their mother backed Kehinde up. "Stop making false accusations against your sister. Not everyone wants what you have." But Taiwo knew. She watched it happening and felt helpless to stop it. Months passed. Chidi started making plans to come back to Nigeria. He wanted to meet Taiwo's family properly. He wanted to get married. Kehinde made sure she was the one he spent the most time with when he arrived. She would answer the door when he came to visit. She would sit and talk with him while Taiwo was busy with chores their mother suddenly needed done. She wore Taiwo's clothes, copied Taiwo's mannerisms, became Taiwo. And slowly, Chidi started to believe Kehinde was the woman he'd been talking to all along. Taiwo watched it all happen from the shadows of her own home, watched her sister steal her voice, her identity, and her future. When Chidi formally asked to marry Taiwo, he was looking at Kehinde. Their mother accepted on her behalf immediately. The wedding was planned, invitation sent, a date is set. Taiwo sat in the corner of the house while they made plans, invisible in her own life. But truth is a stubborn thing. It doesn't stay buried forever. Chidi started noticing things, small things at first. Kehinde would mention a conversation they supposedly had, but the details would be slightly off. She would reference things that didn't match his memories. And whenever Taiwo was nearby, he felt something, a pull, a recognition, like his soul knew something his mind hadn't figured out yet. One afternoon, about 2 weeks before the wedding, Chidi came to the house when Kehinde and their mother were out. Only Taiwo was home. He sat across from her in the small parlor, really looked at her. "Tell me the truth, Taiwo. Did I meet you before?" His voice broke through all Taiwo's defenses, all the years of keeping quiet, all the loyalty that had nearly destroyed her. And she told him everything. She told him about Kehinde taking her phone, about the substitution, about their mother's plan, about the fire and the scars and the lifetime of cruelty that led to this moment. She cried while she talked, real tears, years of pain pouring out. Chidi listened to everything. His face got darker and darker. When she finished, he stood up. "I need you to trust me. Can you do that?" Taiwo nodded, not sure what else to do. "Don't tell anyone we talked. Act normal. Can you do that until the wedding day?" "Why? What are you going to do?" He smiled. It wasn't a nice smile. "I'm going to make sure the right woman becomes my wife." Taiwo was shocked, looked at him. "Even with my scars?" "Yes," Chidi affirmed. "But how?" she questioned, unsure if to believe him or not. "Trust me on this, wait and see." She nodded as he stares at Chidi, still unsure. The wedding day arrived. The whole village came. People filled the church, excited to see the twin marry the rich Canadian man. Taiwo sat in the back, wearing a simple dress their mother had picked out for her. She was supposed to be invisible today, just another guest at her sister's wedding. Kehinde looked beautiful in white. Their mother sat in the front row, already counting the money she expected to get from her new son-in-law. The priest began the ceremony. Everything seemed normal. Then came the part where the groom was supposed to take his bride's hand. Chidi stood up. Everyone waited. He walked past Kehinde, kept walking, all the way to the back of the church where Taiwo sat frozen in shock. He stopped in front of her and held out his hand. "This," he said loudly, his voice carrying through the entire church, "is my wife. This is Taiwo, the real Taiwo, the woman I've been talking to, the woman I fell in love with, and she will forever be mine regardless." The church exploded into chaos. People started shouting, asking questions, looking confused. Kehinde's face changed. The sweet bride disappeared. What replaced it was pure rage. She screamed, actually screamed like something not human. "No! She stole him! She stole my life!" She grabbed the knife they'd placed next to the wedding cake, the sharp one meant for cutting, and she ran toward Taiwo with murder in her eyes. Time slowed. Taiwo saw her coming but couldn't move. After everything, after all these years, some part of her still couldn't believe Kehinde would actually hurt her. But someone else moved. Old Papa Okon, a retired hunter who'd been friends with their father, stepped between them. He'd been watching the family for years, seeing the injustice, waiting for a chance to help. The knife went into his arm instead of Taiwo's chest. Blood sprayed. People screamed louder. Someone called the police. Kehinde stood there with the bloody knife, her wedding dress splattered with red, still trying to get to Taiwo. "You ruined everything," she screamed. "Everything was supposed to be mine. Mama said it would all be mine." The police arrived quickly. This wasn't a village dispute anymore. This was attempted murder in front of 200 witnesses. They pulled Kehinde away in handcuffs. She fought them every step, screaming not at Taiwo now, but at her mother. "You did this. You told me I deserved it all. You promised me. You said she was nothing." Their mother sat in the front pew, frozen. The mask she'd worn for so many years was cracking apart. Papa Okon survived. The knife had missed the major arteries. At the hospital, he just smiled at Taiwo and said, "Your father would be proud of who you became. I'm glad I could help." Kehinde was charged with attempted murder. The evidence was overwhelming. The witnesses numbered in the hundreds. During the trial, everything came out. The substitution, the phone theft, the years of abuse. Other villagers started coming forward with stories. The market traders testified about the stealing. Teachers from their school talked about the money incident. The judge sentenced Kehinde to 7 years in prison. 3 days after the trial ended, their mother came to the house where Taiwo was staying with Chidi. She looked older, smaller somehow. The confidence and arrogance had drained away, leaving just a tired woman in an old wrapper. Taiwo, she said, standing at the door. Please, can we talk? Taiwo almost said no, almost closed the door. But she'd never been cruel, even when cruelty would have been justified. She let her mother in. They sat in the small parlor. Her hands shook, tears ran down her face. I'm sorry, she whispered. I was wrong about everything. I see it now. I favored Kehinde because she reminded me of myself, and I hated you because you reminded me of your father. After he died, seeing you every day felt like he was still there, judging me. She looked up. I know sorry isn't enough. I know I destroyed your childhood. I allowed her to take everything from you, and I almost let her kill you. I need you to know I'm sorry. Taiwo sat there for a long moment. She thought about all those years, all the beatings, the false accusations, the scars on her arm, the stolen identity. She thought about hate, how easy it would be, how justified. But she also thought about freedom, real freedom. Not just physical, but the kind that comes when you refuse to carry other people's poison inside you. I forgive you, Mama, she said quietly. Her mother's face lit up with hope. Then Taiwo continued. But I don't think we can have a relationship now. Not maybe ever. Forgiveness doesn't mean forgetting. It doesn't mean pretending it didn't happen. It just means I'm not going to let what you did control my life anymore. She stood up. Shidi and I are leaving for Canada next week. We're starting a new life. I hope you find peace, Mama. I really do. But I need to find mine first. The morning they left for the airport, Taiwo stood in the compound one last time. The place where she'd fetched water countless times, where she'd been beaten, where she'd survived. Her mother stood in the doorway watching, not saying anything, just watching. Shidi loaded their bags into the car. Ready? He asked gently. Taiwo took one last look at her mother, really looked at her, and she saw something she'd never seen before. Regret. Real regret, the kind that comes too late to fix anything, but exists anyway, a burden the person has to carry alone. Goodbye, Mama, Taiwo said softly. She got in the car. As they drove away, she watched her mother in the side mirror, standing in the dust, one hand half raised like she wanted to wave, but couldn't make herself do it, getting smaller and smaller until the car turned the corner and she disappeared. Taiwo felt Shidi's hand cover hers. Are you okay? He asked gently. She thought about it, really thought about it. Yeah, she said, and she meant it. I think I finally am. 5 years later, Taiwo sat in her house in Toronto, a real house with a garden and a guest room and everything she'd never imagined having. She has a daughter now, a beautiful little girl named Folake, 3 years old and full of questions and laughter. Her phone rang, a Nigerian number she didn't recognize. Hello? Taiwo? It was Chichi, her old friend from the village. I thought you should know. Your mother passed away last night. Heart attack. It was quick. I see, she said. Kehinde is being released early for the funeral. 3 days compassionate leave from prison. I see. Are you coming back? Taiwo looked at her daughter playing with blocks on the living room floor. At the life she'd built from nothing. At the peace she'd fought so hard to find. No, she said softly. I don't think I am. After she hung up, she sat for a while, just thinking. She thought about her mother, about Kehinde, about all those years of pain, and she realized something. The people who hurt you the most are often the ones who teach you how strong you really are. Not because the pain makes you strong, pain just makes you hurt, but because surviving it, choosing not to become it, and choosing to build something better, that's where real strength comes from. She'd broken the cycle. Her daughter would grow up knowing she was loved. Both daughters, if she ever had another, equally, completely, without conditions. That night, she told Folake a bedtime story about twins. But in her version, the twins loved each other, supported each other, grew up to be best friends. It was a lie, but it was the kind of lie that could become truth in the next generation. And sometimes that's all you can do. Break what was broken, build something better, and let the past stay where it belongs, behind you. Thanks for watching. Comment on your favorite part of the story and subscribe for more interesting stories like this. Thank you.